I will simply buy a new audio interface.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure. That's I don't know if that's the most efficient way of doing that, but it doesn't matter.
I will
Mind
buy a
your
new
business,
house.
Nova.
There'll be a new computer in it.
Just completely replace every aspect of your life.
Yeah,
around
but what I've done is
Zencastr.
I've bought a new audio interface every week. The podcast is not even breaking even at this point.
My tech setup is how would you describe it? Ship of Theseus.
Yes.
Wait, I'm about to have to take the ship of Theseus out of the harbor because I'm gonna have to move this computer.
All your loose hard drives are going to be rolling around.
This computer is gonna have to get out of this corner, out of the apartment, into a Nissan Juke, and then across town.
Oh, a Juke.
I don't know. That's what the car rental place had, and then into the new apartment, down a really narrow flight of stairs.
Like Glasgow tenement stair type situation. Yes.
Into the new flat. And yeah, so I have the travel rig as a backup. I have a laptop and a microphone for that. So if I suddenly sound worse for a while, it is because something else has gone wrong in the move. Oh my god.
Oh, moving is the most exciting thing. My favorite thing, and my favorite thing especially, is to move with Roz, who is the worst mover in the world.
Well, what I've discovered I don't like doing.
I don't like moving.
I know you don't.
having to give your landlord or the letting agency like an ultimatum, like a full-on like the full-on this is unacceptable letter before you've even moved in.
Oh
yeah,
you are in a tough pickle.
I'm in a situation because I rented a furnished flat and they decided the day before giving me the keys to take half the furniture out of it and then go, is that okay? And I have to now go, no, it isn't.
No, it is not.
Give me my shit back. Give me your shit back.
Yeah,
exactly.
Your shit back in the apartment, or like give me like a reduction on the rent, you know? I hate landlords. I hate letting agencies. We should sync. We should do the sync point.
We should probably do the sync. Yeah. 3, 2, 1, mark. Okie dokie.
I like that Devin put in the notes, or put in when they flash something up. I left this in so you can see how good they're getting at it. I'm so proud of them.
I know.
Thanks, Devin. That
Thank
did
you,
make my
Devin.
day. That did make my day.
Beautiful. Thanks, Devin.
It's positive reinforcement, you know? It's very important.
Positive reinforcement works on me. Negative reinforcement doesn't, because I'll just ignore you.
I also love that we destroyed it later in that episode. That was also beautiful. Beautiful symmetry. Something went wrong later in the episode, and we just undid all that good work. And you know what? That's why they keep coming back. They love it. Not right. Devin. Devin would rather we were more professional. I mean, the hogs keep coming back. They love the chaos.
Yeah, enjoy your slop.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do this.
Hello, and welcome to
Ross.
Well, There's Your Problem. It's a podcast about engineering disasters with slides. I'm Justin Rosniak. I'm the person who's talking right now. My pronouns are he and him. Okay, go.
I'm November Kelly. I'm the person who's talking now. My pronouns are she and her. Yay, Liam.
Yay, Liam. Hi, I'm Liam McAnderson. I am about to avenge Nova's apartment calamity.
Please.
You have my sword. My pronouns are he and him, and with us we have not a guest.
No, my name is Gareth Dennis. Hello, I'm also a co-host temporarily. Don't worry, everyone. You'll get rid of me soon. That sounded like I know my own demise is inbound. My pronouns are he and him, of course, but
we put you on like a performance improvement plan after like 2 episodes. It's like we're really trying to line shit up. We've got you moved to a basement office, and you're just getting the sense that the walls are closing in a bit. Yeah,
I did wonder about the damp.
Gareth's stapler.
Yeah, you withdrew my toilet privileges as well. I did wonder about that. Let's do an episode. Oh no, but first we have to advertise something that's. I mean, I'm amazed that we have any spaces left, given how well it's been selling.
The goddamn tour.
Oh,
goddamn tour.
The announcements are on the second slide.
Oh, then you're right. I keep doing this. Right. I keep jumping ahead.
Yeah.
I am now on performance review.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are actually going to be guillotined there, bud. Sorry, I know you have a family, but it's time to go.
That's a demerit right there. Yeah.
Damn it. God damn it.
That's the cause in Fired for Cause.
Yeah. Oh, no,
So-
okay, what's going on? Tell us what's happening, Ross.
What you see in the screen in front of you is the interior of the Indiana State Fair Coliseum.
Oh, shitty view.
You
Yeah.
may-
This is on
Obstructed view.
Ticketmaster. Yeah, this is
Obstructed
on
view.
Ticketmaster. Is like partially obstructed.
Yeah. You may.
I like the guy standing here, bottom right, in the. I mean, it's a grayscale photo, but like clearly with his arms crossed, just surveying the damage. Like, God, that's not gonna buff out, is it?
That's the official pose of well, there's your problem. That's you hit one of these, you know.
Yeah.
So
that
in the
guy
case-
is saying, well, there's your problem.
Mm.
Yeah. Also, is that a pinata dog that's also
Aw.
just on some remaining
It does
concrete?
look like
Possibly, yeah.
Golly.
So you may notice there are some seats missing and a wall has fallen over.
Whoops.
Today we're going to talk about the 1963 Indiana State Fair Coliseum explosion.
Ooh. Okay.
Yes.
Ooh.
Now, there's a quote from the Reverend Fred Rogers that's often dragged out when there's a tragedy or a disaster or something.
Or Trump wins somehow.
Yeah,
We'll,
exactly.
we'll,
That
we'll
sounds
get to
unlikely.
that motherfucker. Yeah. Can you believe that Kamala Harris is going to be president?
Yeah. Fred Rogers said, when I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. To this day, especially in times of disaster, I remember my mother's words, and I am always comforted by realizing there are still so many helpers, so many caring people in this world.
Sure. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's for kids. That's not for you.
Today, we're going to learn what
God.
happens when there are a lot of helpers.
Oh boy.
Maybe too many of them.
Oh, God. Oh. Well. Oh.
Crush my childhood sense of security.
Yeah,
why don't you?
exactly. But first, we have to do announcements.
Fake me out. I don't have a drop for this.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. There's
that-
no announcements drop.
We just got it. I was gonna say a train horn.
Announcements.
There we go. That's the announcements. There we go. Right, announcements.
No. The New York City and Boston shows that we advertised earlier have sold out. We have added an extra New York City show and an extra Boston show. Links to tickets for that will be in the description. They're on the 29th and 30th of April, respectively, I believe.
I can't wait until we keep adding shows as they sell out and we end up booking me into what is functionally a 6-month East Coast residency.
Yeah,
That's gonna be a lot of episodes to put together.
yeah, we're under the gun. We're gonna do an episode on cocaine as we're on cocaine.
I've never done coke in my life, but I think if ever there was a time to do it, it would be like 2 minutes before going on stage for the cocaine live show.
That would be pretty good.
On the other hand, if I say that to Customs and Immigration, I will never be allowed to enter the United States again. So let's not do a cocaine show.
We're not doing a cocaine
Kids,
show. We already did an LSD show.
Don't do drugs.
Mm.
Yeah. As for the other shows in Washington, D.C., we still have about a third of the tickets left as of recording time. In Philadelphia at the Fillmore, we need to fill more seats.
Yeah, please.
So,
That's why they call it that.
Exactly. So buy those tickets there. There's still about half of them left. Sorry if the tickets are kind of expensive. We don't control the prices. You know, it's Live Nation Ticketmaster thing. You know, it's outside of our control.
Also, yeah, well, the Sony Hall where we're playing, because we're playing Times Square, a real sentence I have to say now.
Yeah,
Yeah, you did just say that.
They sent me an email after I signed. I was testing something for the pod, and they were like, coming to like Sony Hall. It's, well, there's your problem. Like, yeah, I fucking know, man. I booked that show. Well, the booking agent booked that show, but I know about
exactly.
it. Do we want to talk about the toy drive, or do you have anything?
Yeah,
more to
talk
say
about
on
the
this
toy
one?
drive.
Yeah,
talk
talk
about
about
the
the
toy
toy
drive.
drive. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So last year, Hogs, so I was talking to I'm gonna get her title wrong. Erica, if you're listening, I'm sorry. she's like our development director, so head of like fundraising and stuff like that. The Hogs have donated between when we started donating last year, so like November of 2023 to about now. The Hogs have raised $27,683 or thereabouts, which is a tremendous amount of money for the place I work, which is called Lutheran Settlement House. We do social work, we do domestic violence counseling, prevention, housing. We have a senior center, we have a food pantry, kind of everything to everyone, especially with Mayor Parker putting her incompetent thumb up her equally incompetent ass. Might have to bleep that, Devin, but yeah, so the Hogs have been glorious, but I am appealing to the Hogs today because once again we are doing the toy drive for kids at our shelter that's called Jane Addams Place and kids in our domestic violence program. I will bully Roz into linking. We have an Amazon wish list. That's the easiest way for us to do this. We're not doing the PO box like last time because I got sick of going to the PO box every day and having the post office employees be like, there that motherfucker is again.
You were literally bringing toys to at-risk youth, and the post office were like, "This motherfucker."
Once
I have to see his face again.
Once I told them what I was doing, they became very sympathetic instantaneously, which was pretty funny.
Yeah, I bet. Like, you have a massive guilt card to play on anyone who fucks with you, which I think is really like, you know, it's not a very well rewarded task, but that's one of the few perks that there are, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. They were like, oh, come in the back, get a cart. And they would like hook me up at the loading dock, which was pretty funny.
It's like your rewards are the laughter of children and making a postal worker feel just horrible about themselves.
Oh, I hope not.
So I rolled my eyes at the guy who is basically Santa.
Yeah. Also Jewish Santa. I'm Hanukkah Harry, really, but yeah, if you want to donate toys, I would appreciate it. I'll also have the donation link to Lutheran Settlement House if you hate toys and want your dollars to not go to children at all, but exclusively to hungry people and our seniors.
If you're on some kind of anti-natalist beef, but you're still charitable, so you're like, fuck these kids, but also like, you know, I want to do a good deed, I guess you could do that. Yeah. All I'm gonna say is another year has gone past, and you know, these children they need the scale model Hawker Hunters. You know,
they do, and they're de Havilland Comets.
I'd already seen the comments popping up. I was very pleased about that. Yeah,
I will say to those of you, there are some people who have donated. I don't have the names in front of me. I don't want to dox anyone essentially, but I do want to say there are several of our listeners who have donated in the thousands of dollars.
That is so generous.
Wow. And that is extremely generous. And if there's now a flag in our donation software database, so that if you donate and it gets flagged yay Liam and I have time in between whatever it is I do at work, I will be writing you a note on a post-it within reason, because they're censoring me. I've already been told numerous times that I will be censored. All right, that is my plug. Thank you for listening. Thank you for giving us money. Thank you for enabling us to help survivors of domestic violence, old people, and the hungry. We are deeply appreciative of it.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right.
Why am I saying that like I did something? I didn't do shit.
This is no, you're on the podcast and therefore getting the message out. You know,
I guess so.
Yeah, exactly. This is a group effort here. It's just that Liam's doing most of it.
As Enver Hoxha said, between the Albanians and the Chinese, we comprise like over a quarter of the Earth's population.
Yeah, I mean, this is maybe not group effort. The word I would use there is group project. Yeah, one person does most of the work.
Okay, I need to be very clear. There are people who are doing the work with like working at Jane Addams and working with survivors of domestic violence much more intimately than I do. And I just want to say they deserve the none of the credit. I deserve all of it. I am Liam the Great and Powerful. Now to me. Don't hit your fucking kids.
Yeah.
Just put that on like a sort of rainbow, like animated text, you know, unicorn across the screen. Don't hit your kids.
Yeah.
The more you know. Yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes.
I was about to say
that was 15 minutes of time.
That was nice and uplifting. So it's time to do the goddamn news.
Must we? Yeah, we blew it.
We live in hell.
The once and future president has returned.
You see here before you on the screen the text that I sent to my extremely worried group chat the night of the election when I was going to bed, and I was like, I'm not going to stay up for this. I'm not going to torture myself because it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be like you're going to get a shitty liberal and things are going to continue basically the same. Why stay up? Why feel anything about this? And unfortunately, as a sufferer of OCD, what I realize now is in that moment, I failed to observe my rituals and my compulsive behaviors, and I jinxed it and I caused Donald Trump to become president again. So I'm very sorry. If you're looking at like net good and evil this podcast has put out into the world, Liam is helping the kids. I got Donald Trump reelected.
You did.
No, because I did all of my rituals.
Yeah.
And it still didn't work.
Well, no, because I didn't do mine, right? This is the thing. We're all looking for the one OCD person who didn't do the thing, and that's me. It's my fault this happened.
I will say, I whatever, he's a shitty pro-life Democrat, but Bob Casey refusing to wave the flag like 2 weeks in or whatever. Oh my God, we're 8 days out from the election.
It's only been a week. Yeah.
Bloody
Matt
hell.
Gaetz is going to be attorney general, folks.
Elon Musk is going to be
I'm pretty sure that's just the Blue Ribbon Commission in order to get him out of the way.
Yeah, but even still, like I don't know. Plus, he might kill everyone.
It's like here's a toy you can play with. Go away.
Like mandatory Neuralink for every US citizen. That's what we're seeing in 2 years' time.
I know a lot of people out there are struggling, and like even from an ocean away, I kind of am too, because the whole planet's a little bit fucked off of this. I worry a lot for Americans. I worry a lot for my American friends, and I mean, I gotta be honest. I felt the vibes that things weren't going Kamala's way, and I ignored them. I was like, I'm going to listen to the polls. I'm going to listen to Jan Seltzer or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was wrong to do that. What I should have been doing is turning my light switches on and off an even number of times that's a multiple of 4, but not of 6, until it feels right. And I didn't do that. And now this is happening.
I had a conversation with my dad about politics, which is something I can very rarely do. Right after Kamala was got the nomination when Biden dropped out.
Yeah,
I was like, "Do you think she's got the juice?" And Dad was like, "No," and I was like, "Nah, I don't think so either." And then
here we are.
I was like, I had to suppress that feeling for the rest of the rest of the election. I was like, I don't think she's going to do it, folks.
It's
but
fascinating
it didn't seem
to
worth
me
discussing.
how many people, including me, on the left or even on the like center left, like sort of left liberals or whatever, that whole sphere, managed to convince ourselves that she was going to pull it off because she was brats. Like,
yeah, the really, really, really serious groupthink here, I think.
Yeah, for real.
The other weird thing is, just how I would say this election has been very parasocial in a lot of ways.
Yep.
I don't know if it's the first one, but yeah, this applies to both sides, because a lot of people who voted for Trump were like, they interviewed afterwards, like, I don't think he's going to do all the bad stuff. I think he's just saying that, for laughs.
There were people who voted for Trump and then voted Democrat down ticket in order to like put a break on Trump somehow.
Yeah, but then there was also like a similar thing with like Kamala. One of the things is I don't know if you remember any of the big group calls that were organized like the week after. Yeah, one of them. Yeah, and one of them was like I'm sorry to do this because I know some of the people who organized it are probably listening. There was one that was like train lovers for Harris. And I looked at that and I was like, what are you talking about? She's not going to do any of that.
And now she definitely won't.
They already did infrastructure. They're not going to touch that again. Yeah. Everyone was projecting everything they liked onto both of the candidates. And it kind of, I don't know, it went nowhere. I looked at her policy page, which is still up yesterday. I was like, and I looked at it and I was like,
there's nothing of substance here.
There ain't shit there. Yeah. I mean, people were talking about, how do you say, Democrats should have campaigned on this or that. They should have been less woke. They should have been so on and so forth. I think they should have had a policy. I think that would have
just one single
helped.
policy.
Yeah, just one single policy. I think would have been a nice thing to say, hey, vote for us and we will deliver this to you.
The trouble is the Labour Party got involved, didn't they?
Yes,
the Labour Party are allergic to having any policies other than occasionally ones that are extremely harmful to vulnerable people such as trans people. So, I know. Yeah, Nova, you're getting involved again. I have a question. So, Dart Brandon, right? Amtrak Joe, everyone made a huge deal about his rail credentials, right? And so, made this huge fuss about this big infrastructure investment. How much of any of that actually is progressed at all? And is all of it just going to get cancelled? I assume that none of it even got to the point that it will need to be cancelled by the Republicans, because I don't know of any actual rail projects that were actually being progressed other than just big talk. So where are we actually at with any of that, Russ?
I would say the sum total of progress which has been made. The New Orleans to Mobile train is probably going to go through. They're too far in on that. There is now one extra train from Chicago to Minneapolis.
Didn't we get the funding approved for more Pennsylvanians?
Yes, that's also going through. There's going to be one extra train from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh at the cost of several $100 million.
Making no sense.
Beautiful.
Yeah. That's mostly improvements for Norfolk Southern.
What a legacy! What a legacy to end with, to maybe be like the worst American president, and that's like
there is a lot of Northeast Corridor improvements which are going through at this point. They're mostly bridge replacements. They're replacing the BNP tunnel in Baltimore. They are probably going to manage to force through the Gateway Tunnel in New York City this time around. Portal Bridge is well underway. But that's all, Northeast Corridor improvements. If projects like expanding the long distance Amtrak network or like, replacing the long distance fleet, that's all up in the air still. I mean,
so the Democrats did the classic thing, and they do this with women's rights. They do this with all this stuff where they say they basically don't do it so that they can hang it over everyone for the next election. And they've been doing that for 40 years. Where they say, "Oh, you have to vote us in so that we can, codify Wade v. Roe. You have to, just wait till the next one. Then, then we'll do it."
Then it never happens.
This is the most important election of our lifetimes because it's another opportunity.
Said it to me about John Kerry in 2004.
Yeah. I do think if they had maybe made this election about codifying Roe versus Wade, they might have had a better.
I disagree
outcome,
because they relied on abortion too much in the final weeks and nobody gave a shit.
I kind of feel like none of us know is the thing. Like I made the mistake of thinking I knew what was going on or I knew what I was talking about. I know I have no qualifications to do so. I made the mistake of like thinking things could ever be good, which I know I shouldn't. And I didn't touch light switches enough. Instead of I touched grass instead of light switch.
You didn't flip the light switch 3 times. Yeah.
No. Like 3 times would have been wrong. Like 4 times, unless it feels wrong. And then if it does feel wrong, then you go up to 8 and then 12. But then
but then you've had no effect because the light's gone on, and you have to have an odd number to have an effect.
No, that's not. Well, okay, sure.
Well,
but
then either the lights are always on or always off.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. No, this is the. Listen,
worry about yourself, Roz.
Don't worry about the lights in my house. I don't have any furniture in there.
Yeah.
I'm just turning the light on and off on an empty room. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously the thing is, right, we can go through because it's everybody's fault. It's like, it is your fault for if you voted for her, not voting for her enough. It's your fault if you didn't vote for her. It's Joe Biden's fault for like setting her up to fail. It's her fault for losing. It's Tim Walz's fault for I don't know. It's
Having a nice time.
It's Donald Trump's fault for winning.
Tim Waltz, I feel like got a bit too much of the muzzle put on him.
Yeah, they were scared of him being relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Devon's fault for telling you not to vote. It's fucking Putin's fault probably, or something, because of Russiagate. It's you can play this blame game all day, and it kind of doesn't matter, because all we really know is that, like, even if you have the perfect theory of change and of how to win elections, the Democratic Party have indicated to you that they are not going to listen to it, right? They're going to do the thing that they want to do. They're going to run things their way, and their way loses every time.
Yeah, I mean, about all you can say is, well, that went poorly, but I don't know if it could have gone a different way.
I don't know if there was a campaign that could have run in 3 months where she was like vice president of someone as unpopular as Joe Biden that could have won. Even if there had been, she would never have run it, because, you know, the people involved were just never going to feel comfortable doing that.
So here's the thing. I'm a moron, right? That's very important.
Absolutely,
put that on deck. But I have just written a book that did a lot of discussing. I kind of repeat the point that people can get too locked into kind of fluctuation events and not look at the macro. The macro here is that, and it's the same in the UK with the budget we just had, to be honest. We just had a budget that says it's record investment, and yet none of that will be seen by the lowest income people. And that's exactly what happened with the big investment strategy of the Democrats. They said, we're investing all this money in it.
Thing. Well, like you refuse to acknowledge that people are suffering.
So I don't think any campaign could have won this for the Democrats, because they'd fucked it by their broad economic policy of, we're going to do big investment, but it's all going to disappear into big corporations to make line go up, rather than to actually land in the pockets of people who are struggling. And the only person who's actually promising economic change was Trump.
I have maintained the theory that the Democrats could have run basically anyone besides maybe a couple people, and Trump would have won. And I think a lot of it is people like Trump, and it's hard for us on the left to get that. But like, I don't fucking like the guy. I think he's a lunatic moron, but people love him. And I was reading the New York Times article that came out today, because I am a moron as well, about like what undecided voters in 2024 and who they voted for. And number one, I have a bone to pick with there's a woman in there named like McClain. Like that's her given
like John
name.
McClain?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she was like, I was swayed by the Trump they them vote. Like I was gonna vote Biden before that. And she wrote in Romney in 2020. And it was like, you lying scumbag. But I do think that like, yeah, people wanted to vote for Trump, and like we have to deal with that on the left, and even with our liberal friends sort of in quotes there.
Yeah. We have to learn. I mean, the stuff that people like about Trump is that he's funny, and he feels like he's gonna like be strong, and he's gonna like fuck with and trigger all of the like liberal institutions that everybody hates. I do like 2 of those 3 things already, right? So like, if there's a lesson from this, it's to like fucking get more like a podcast, I guess, or kill yourself. I don't know.
People want to vote.
We need the left Joe Rogan, apparently.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
If things are fucked,
it was called Cumtown.
No, well, yeah, actually, I mean, you know, this is the thing. That was a big piece of discourse like a couple days ago. You know, there's this whole ecosystem of left-wing podcasts that, you know, showed up over the past, 8 years or so since the Bernie run. And I guess the liberals just have no idea we exist.
Yeah,
Whereas
Yeah.
the establishment
we
liberals.
didn't like move the needle at all because we didn't want to, because we felt like ambiguous and because we felt
What are we gonna do?
ambivalent and
Come out?
conflicted.
Are we gonna come out and endorse Kamala Harris? No,
No.
I'd rather end the podcast and beat you two to death with a sword.
Yeah.
Wait, which one? Who survives? Who
One
survives?
of the three of you gets to live.
Yeah.
Who is it?
I think, maybe I'm oversimplifying, but I think when a lot of people in the US are feeling fucked, as in like their cost of living is getting worse, the amount they can actually get for $1 is getting smaller, and there's two parties, and one of them says we ain't changing shit, and the other one says I'm going to do change, even if it's fascism. Then you're going to be inclined to vote for the person who does something, because at the moment you're fucked, and someone telling you we're not going to change anything is not appealing.
Yeah, I mean, I said
liberals
this
are
on.
just never going to learn this.
I said this on TF, right? Because like one of the things that Riley on there is trying to contextualize this in is within this like global shift rightwards, right? And it need not always be so. That's not just like weather, you know, it's because of stuff happening. But speaking of weather, one of the things that like is like profoundly affecting this is climate change, right? And we saw in Spain, I don't know, we probably should have put this in as a separate notes thing, but I want to talk about it now. We saw like absolutely catastrophic flooding, like caused by climate change, like hundreds of people dead. And
also
I'm just
Santiago Calatrava putting that big arts center where the river's supposed to be.
And like Spain has a like a sort of center left government that clung on by its fingernails in coalition in the last election, and their reward for that is something that is just like makes it obvious how untenable this whole thing is, you know. And like of course that's going to drive you into the arms of whatever party is like, you know, what's you know causing this shit is you know, immigrants or whatever.
I was about to say the Democratic Party going hard in anti-immigrant was a bad idea. Also dropped opposition to the death penalty. Of course, no one wanted to do anything about Gaza. No one touched that issue.
No,
they made that way worse. They sent
they lost Michigan off that shit. Like whenever anyone tells you that it doesn't matter, like they lost like big cities in Michigan. They lost the college towns in Michigan because they were like kids were getting fucking pepper sprayed.
Kids just didn't show up to vote. I mean, that was definitely obviously kids are under 18. They should not show up to vote. That's voter fraud. But the young people did not show up to vote.
And no one could fucking blame them. I turned 18 in 2009. So I voted socialist in 2012. I voted for Hillary Clinton and I voted Democrat since, because they've all been fucking against Trump, who, regardless of his politics, I can't stand his voice, like his speaking voice. And when people do their Trump impressions, it makes me mad.
Oh, I'm glad you said that sentence, because I was gearing up. I was puckering.
People do, like, friend of the show Tom Payne does like a pretty spot on Trump impression. And it makes me furious.
He's very mad, folks. Very mad at my voice.
I will beat you to death with your own shoes.
Is he triggered? I don't know.
But I was just like, I can't stand this asshole. And my entire.
Should we bring out the fish? I
don't like fish. In my entire, whatever you want to call it, like voting career, it's been just like, oh, this is the most important. Like we'll do it this time, you guys. Like we'll make life measurably better and then they just don't.
Yeah.
That's what Gareth was just saying, and I wanted to reinforce that. It's like when people can't buy like eggs and meat, they're going to vote for the other guy, even if the other guy is like. As long as they just say change, because the median voter is a dipshit, I think. But
it's also to say that, you know, that no one was going to address, you know, the big sources of inflation that have been obvious in our, you know, fixed costs that everyone has, you know, rent, healthcare, higher education.
Yeah,
so on and
can't
so
touch
forth,
them.
You know?
Can't touch those.
What you can do is
would have
complain
made
that the egg costs 60 cents more.
Yeah. I wonder what would have what the Democrats, you know, saying Medicare for all and just flatly Liam, in fact, you even gave them a few episodes ago, you even gave them the headline for the legislation. Just Medicare for all that would immediately save like every American on average like hundreds if not thousands of dollars.
It was my dad's idea when he was arguing with Glenn Beck on Fox News when Obamacare went vote back. I made this joke before, but I'm gonna make it again. And my dad was like, I could do it in one sentence. The United States of America hereby adopts universal health care and empowers or delegates the Secretary of Health and Human Services to implement same. Done. One sentence. We have universal health care.
That's one page, yeah.
Yeah. Give my dad Secretary of Health and Human Services.
Yeah, for real.
Donnie, I know you're a big fan. I take back whatever I've said about you or whatever. Give my dad HHS.
This is going to be interesting because they want to put RFK into something, and he's going to.
Oh my god!
He's going to try and.
He's going to kill us all, dude.
Well,
I genuinely every time
all cholera. But what I'm excited about is he does want to ban chemtrails, which I think will be good. That's going to be good for the railroad industry because we just won't be able to fly planes anymore.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah,
that'll be good.
I just every time I think about the election, I think about a new way in which all of us are fucked. And I haven't run out yet. It's been a new one every time. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say.
Buy whiskey, buy Stroop waffles, consume both.
Buy a gun, fucking.
Yeah.
If you live in the United States, you can do it legally. If you feel like you can do it safely, I think it's something I would do if I lived in the US. No question, I wouldn't hesitate about it. Because shit's gonna get as bad as it is now. It's gonna get so much worse.
Yeah, I was about to say we need a liberal Waco.
Oh god.
Yeah. Talking of changing climates and mass slaughter.
Yes, I was about to say let's go to the other side of the world. So in Neom, in Saudi Arabia, they're putting up Panama Canal numbers, more than Panama Canal numbers. This makes the Panama Canal look like sort of kids play. Yeah.
They're putting up White Sea Canal numbers,
Exactly.
121,000 people dead or missing.
21,000 dead, over 100,000 missing.
Jesus.
Putting together Neom and the line and so on and so
missing
forth.
In this case presumably just means buried alive in trench or something.
I am really confused at how you can put up those numbers with modern construction techniques.
Yeah, me too.
You just actively have to beat a couple of guys to death every shift.
Those are visible from space numbers. So. It's funny because I recently was working on a company and I joined the company and then realized that company, it's Sistra. It's Sistra. Everyone knows it's Sistra. I was working at Sistra. And Sistra were working on Neom and I come in and they're working on Neom and I was like, why are we working on what? And the people at the top genuinely convinced themselves obviously they're working practice and stuff, but we can change it from the inside. It's like, the fuck are you talking about? Why do you think that? Have you ever met MBS? Do you know what he's like?
Push MBS left,
So while I was in the brief time that I was a sister, I was basically going, we should not bid for this. It's extremely high risk. We should not bid for this. It's extremely high risk. Just listing off all the Neom stuff that we were trying to get in with. Partly because all engineering consultancies in the UK have been driven insane by the fact there isn't any work here, so they start doing nuts stuff what crazy ship monies can we go for
Neom
instead?
is one of the places that is building stuff, and it's a short list,
Yeah, it's an extremely long ditch that is, I hope, not going to be much more. But they've killed killed or lost 121,000 Nepalese, Indian,
Bangladeshi, Pakistani,
people who come into the country, have their passports confiscated, have it's essentially indentured servitude, and have pretty grim working conditions, and send a bit of money back to their families, and then apparently don't even get recorded as dying. You become lost, and then the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia pretends that you weren't and gets upset that the Western commentators are talking about you.
Yeah, we have 100,000 different videos of these guys walking backwards out of the airport, so it's all good.
I don't understand how it's like. What are they doing? Are they trying to blast the several tunnels for this project entirely with people with suicide vests?
Yeah, right.
I don't understand.
God only knows how they're doing
caught
this.
to a factor of 1 million. Yeah, are they just giving these guys cholera and then shooting them?
My feeling is if you think that the design process for this is bad, imagine what the sort of like works oversight for this is? You know, what do you think the kind of like foremen for this look like? What do you think their managers look like?
Are they like lining people up in front of the scraper?
I mean,
maybe. I don't understand.
I listen, I don't mean to be sort of like, I don't mean to brag, but I'm pretty certain if you put me in charge of a construction crew of 100 people, I could find a way to kill all of them accidentally. Like,
I don't know if, you know what, Nova? I don't know if you could. I honestly do not know how you kill this many people without shooting half of them.
So imagine I'm like a very junior Saudi prince's like fail daughter, and I then have the same job, and I'm like, okay, now I need all of these guys to stand in front of the bulldozer just in case, to balance it.
I was about to say, if you killed all those people by shooting them, that's adding a lot of ammo to the budget.
That's true.
And ammunition's expensive because we're in Biden's America.
Not for long.
Oh, Jesus
and it's gonna be more expensive somehow.
Yeah, it probably will.
This is appalling. So my call to and there are lots of engineers out there, lots of my fellow design engineers out there, but others as well. The people in the UK right now, if you're working on this and you're kind of like, well, I was told to work on this job and like I don't have a choice. Say no. You can move to another project or you can threaten them with leaving. Say no. Give your line manager the stories about this, the stories about the indigenous populations being murdered. You should not be working on this stuff. You have blood on your hands if you work on this project. Step away from it. Call it out. Shout out to New Civil Engineer, which is like an incredibly middling sort of engineering business-to-business publication. But they've been gunning for this. They've really pushed hard on like making a point of this and shaming some of the UK companies working on it, of which there are a long list. So fair play to New Civil Engineer magazine, doing some proper, genuine journalism that the big media companies just haven't been. They're actually calling out engineering consultants and engineering companies in the UK who have been working on this. Universities involved in this stuff. Stop it. Abandon KSA. Just because he has a lot of money does not mean that you should be sniffing his ass. Get out of there.
Yeah. This is a bad project, folks. My concentration at Drexel was in construction management. And the one thing they drilled into us at Drexel, which is otherwise, I don't think they were very good at engineering ethics there. Every worker has the right to leave the job site uninjured.
Yep.
And I here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, apparently they've managed to install some kind of Rube Goldberg machine that they just toss all the workers in. And instead of that,
it's staggering. Yeah,
it's a really big number.
Yeah.
It's
and in return for what?
Yeah, well, exactly. It's for bullshit.
It can't be a very efficient site.
No.
Go back to the Seamus episode for people. God, it was a while back now. An absolute tour de force. That Seamus episode. If you want to understand what these projects are, why they exist, and how fucking stupid they are, that episode. If I'm sure everyone listening to this has, because it's a brilliant episode. But if you haven't, go back to the episode to understand what the hell is going on with these projects. But like, it cannot be stressed enough that these are planet-killing projects. They serve no useful function. There are like maybe 2 projects as part of Vision 2030 that are useful, which are railway projects, dedicated railway projects that have nothing to do with NEOM. But the majority of the 2030 stuff is shit like this. It's like 500-meter high mirror stuff that is just planet-killing projects that we shouldn't be progressing. Like, no one on the planet should be letting MBS build this stuff. Sorry, I know I'm getting angry and elevated about this stuff, but this is like a typical situation where my fellow engineers, we are not taught ethics, and this is the fucking result. This is the result: is that British engineers, shit tons of them, are working on this stuff, are going out to Saudi and doing this, are working on this stuff as site engineers, as consulting engineers. Why are you doing this? Stop it. The money is not worth it. You have blood on your hands.
It's like the only like situation in history that this feels comparable to in terms of like the churn rate feels like French Saint-Domingue, now Haiti, where they did just, run through slaves at an incredible rate because they just considered people completely disposable. This is ugly. This is ugly to comprehend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of that around,
Yeah. Well,
let's blow something up.
I was about to say that was the goddamn news. Give me one second. I got to get a backup beer.
We continue.
45 minutes in.
Well, listen, it was always going to take a minute to talk about how the bad things
Fucked we are.
happened. Yeah, I can't stress enough how much I'm not an authority on any of this. I just know that it sucks. I don't have a prescription for it or anything. Just don't get mad at me because I don't know either. I don't know anything other than that.
I feel that in my gut.
I'm back.
Liberal delusion, liberal complacency. Those are the words that just come to mind. It's like we on the left are doomed to remember, right? It's like if you do nothing and people get poorer, well. Anyway, we've been there. We've done that. Let's talk about explosions and once Roz comes back with beer, when we're good to go. Let's do this.
I'm gonna get a beer actually.
Okay,
that's a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, do we wait a bit more then?
Yeah, we'll wait a second.
Okay.
No, it's
so
all good.
There we go.
Cool. Okay, cool.
Okay. What is propane?
What is propane, Roz?
We're on organic chemistry again. Yeah.
I was about to say, a lot of organic chemistry this season. Propane, 3 carbons, 8 hydrogens. That's propane. This is really nice, good, clean burning fuel. Now, propane, as sold to consumers, is a type of liquefied petroleum gas.
Okay.
Right? It's a mixture of propane, a small amount of propylene, and some other trace gases.
Some other fun stuff.
Yes.
Stuff to make it smell so that you can, there's sulfury stuff so you actually smell it if it leaks, little bits, stuff like that.
Liquefied petroleum gas can also include butane and other chemicals, but commercial propane is 90% propane. And then the stuff you use in like a propane grill, that's like 95% propane.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So propane is gaseous at room temperature, and so therefore they liquefy it by cooling it down, and they store it in pressurized tanks, which you can then purchase and take home with you for your propane grill.
Yeah, have a liquefied pressurized gas that you can use to cook meat on.
Exactly. It's reasonably safe. It's reasonably clean. It's reasonably convenient.
It's practical. It's a very Hank Hill type of fuel, you know.
Yeah, you don't have to clean out the grill afterwards. Although I'm a charcoal guy. I prefer charcoal. I like to taste the meat and the heat.
I think I've got 3 almost finished cans of propane upstairs from when I go camping. Those are now haven't been used for 12 years, so they're probably ready to just explode upstairs. That's fine though.
That's good.
They probably either that or they've all leaked out by now.
Well, that's also true. Yeah, they're sat next to the plastic cup of old BR track detonators that are also explosive.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Workplace safety is number 1, baby.
Yeah,
I like that it's different parts of the thing. Like Roz, you have the nuclear bomb in the basement.
That's not mine.
And Gareth, you have the explosives in the attic. So it's
Yeah.
There's a symmetry to it.
One inherent issue.
Seamus.
Huh?
What?
It's a Seamus, and I was going to say get the fertilizer, but
one inherent issue that sets propane and other liquefied petroleum gases apart from, say, natural gas or fuel oils is that propane is a dense gas. If a cylinder springs a leak for some reason, the gas will flow out of the tank and it will pool on the ground instead of dispersing into the air.
Oh, so you don't blow up your house if you have a leaky propane canister upstairs?
Maybe.
Oh,
I'll open some windows. So that's why you should store propane outdoors in a cage.
Then if you blow it up, it's the ground's problem.
yeah.
Then if there's a leak, it's dispersed by the wind. That's why you usually store it in a big cage with individual cylinders. Or if you
I'm just writing this down. I'm thinking about my IKEA Kallax upstairs that's full of propane canisters. Outside.
Yeah.
Cage. Okay. Yep.
Yes.
Or keep going.
If you need a bunch, you have a dedicated tank, which is also outdoors designed to vent to atmosphere.
Vent to atmosphere. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Like a blow-off valve, yes.
So propane is also odorized, so you'll be able to smell the leak and know that when you smell it, it's time to get out of the area. Propane has many commercial uses for fuel for vehicles or for industrial equipment. A lot of forklifts run off of propane, I want to say. It can also be used as an aerosol propellant. There's a lot of newer heat exchangers or heat pumps that use it as a refrigerant because it's more environmentally friendly than chlorofluorocarbons and also works a lot better. And of course, another aspect where propane is used is in commercial kitchens, especially those that are like off of a natural gas distribution system. It's a lot more convenient to transport propane than compressed natural gas. Propane's like 320 psi or so. Compressed natural gas is like 2,400 psi, I want to say. Needs a much more robust container.
You're running like massive, like gas burning, like stovetops off of it, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Now, in this presentation, just because of the sources I used, we're going to refer to propane and liquefied petroleum gas interchangeably. I should mention the big source I used for this was Disaster in Aisle 13. It's a report on sort of the emergency response to this incident more than it is about the actual incident. That's available on Internet Archive.
You would hate to hear disaster on aisle 13 over the like tannoy at a supermarket.
Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
They don't even use a code, you know?
Yeah.
A quick shout out to the Cincinnati episode where one of the sources that you used, Roz, came into the comments and was like, "Oh, that's me. I wrote that." So shout out to that guy. Hi.
Yeah.
What is a state fair, and why does it need a Coliseum?
I can answer this through the medium of stationery.
Okay. Knock yourself out.
Are we familiar with the hipster stationery brand Field Notes?
Yes.
Are we aware that they did? You like them, Justin? They're a little like a kind of like two staple, like cardboard notebook thing. It has like a pretense of being unpretentious. It's meant to be like a farmer's almanac or whatever, or like something you would use for like engineering maybe. And so they do a lot of like special editions, and I had a box set of one per state in like different colors. With a little like sort of gold foil thing with some fun facts about the state. So I this is the California notebook out of the box set, and here's all the stuff that California exports or whatever. And I used these for like years and years and years, and so because of this, I not only know state capitals, but I also know what a state fair is. And a state fair is where you go to a location in the state and you look at like a cow made of butter, or you look at the best pig from this state, or you see some
butter made of cows.
Yeah, you can see
Roz,
some.
Have I ever taken you to the farm show?
I have not been to the farm show. I would like to go to the farm show.
I'll take you to the farm show.
Yeah, so my understanding of it is you and whoever is running for president, if it's a swing state and an election year, go to this place. You see some cultural activities. You consume some very strange, very like high fat and carbohydrate foods.
Yes,
and the best milkshakes you've ever had.
And then you maybe get drunk and you go home
with my milkshake.
Oh, he's so handsome.
Yeah.
Actually, these milkshakes might, bud.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's mad at me because I tripped over him in the kitchen yesterday.
Oh, you're a
cake
bastard.
Milkshake like the football?
Jesus Christ.
Jail for Roz. Jail for Roz for 1,000 years.
So, this is a great place. You can show off your biggest livestock, your giant vegetables, your enormous fruits. Eventually, there's sideshows and attractions that show up. You can go on a Ferris wheel. You go on some kind of fold-up dark ride, little tiny roller coaster, merry-go-round, the infamous zipper.
I wonder if it's possible to do a kind of night tour situation and go to every state fair in like the same year.
Oh my God. I think they're all roughly in the same season is the issue.
Yeah, you'd have to do a lot of traveling, and like
Oh my
some
God.
of them, like Hawaii and Alaska, would like fuck you up in terms of like the travel. But
Yes.
I wonder.
You also have shows or events. You might have horse racing or a concert or auto
You can
racing
just say
at the Indiana.
Kentucky. You can just say Indiana.
Yeah. Demo derbies.
Demolition Derby,
Oh,
Demolition
okay,
Derby
yeah.
with minivans,
I love
Demolition
derbies.
Derby but with pickup trucks, monster trucks, Demolition Derby but with they usually have a lot of demolition derbies. You might have a tractor pull too.
Oh, I love a tractor
yeah,
pull.
yeah, many redneck things.
Hey.
They're all very exciting and
fun.
Fun, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll do Republican voter outreach. It'll just be me at the demo derby with like a 10-foot like idol of Joe Biden on my car.
oh, you have the Kamala Harris car at the Demolition Derby.
It's painted brat green.
Yes.
You get the most neck injuries someone's ever had at one of these.
But I'm so Julia.
Yeah, you wind up like
loves
that guy.
fucking song. It's exhausting.
It's the problem is it's a banger, but now it's indelibly tainted by
Yeah.
association.
You wind up
doing
like
the
that
thing
guy.
of being like, she could have been legendary. She could have had like a reign of power to totally restructure the US, but like, you know, the hubris and tying herself to the thing made it like really, really tainted. And ultimately she lost out on power, and it emerges that I'm talking about Charlie XCX.
You'd wind up like that guy, the pro wrestler guy, when as a heel, the progressive liberal, where people forgot it was a bit. Yeah, I would not. I don't know. Seeing the Harris Waltz car at the Demolition Derby would be very funny.
Oh yeah, crushed
there's
into a cube instantly.
Yeah, lots of horrible, delicious fried foods.
Mm.
Yeah, go to the state fair. It's a good time. At the Indiana State Fair in particular, you can visit the Midway. You can see automobile racing. They got a racetrack because, you know, it's Indiana. The Indianapolis 500 is not so far off.
I was going to say the Indy 500, bud. But
You
you know
can
about
see
that.
the local 4-H show off their livestock. You can see high school marching bands in competitions.
Yeah.
There's also a hot air balloon race.
How do you what?
I
Just
assume
with
the
it, I have
first
an
person to get vaguely near the county where the finish line is wins.
That's bullshit. No, this should be You should have to
Weird.
do this like a J-Dam.
For the first time in history, the Indiana State Fair balloon race has been won by the People's Republic of China.
And piloted by Balloon Boy. Remember that?
Oh God, yeah.
In the past, there were such exciting events as velocipedestrianism.
What?
Very, very early bicycles.
Velocipedes, yes.
Yes.
Oh,
They had
yeah.
horse diving.
That's so bad for the horse.
That
They don't
feels-
like
man.
it.
No,
Yeah.
that feels cruel.
And of course, they had a eugenics event.
Oh, hooray!
Buddy, what?
I mean, it's a logical progression in the sense that you have a bunch of like sort of planters and like ranchers going, yeah, this is the best cow we bred in the state this year, and
Yeah,
I
so
am
they
very
had
racist by
this
the
is-
transitive property.
They had a,
Yeah.
this is the best baby we bred in the state this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have moved past such things as velocipedestrianism and eugenics.
Uh-huh.
So let's talk about the Indiana State Fair Coliseum.
Why is Garfield in this?
I'll
What
get
is-
to why Garfield is in this in a second.
I'm glad because that had a series of questions about
Why
Garfield.
is
Yeah.
the ticket booth so ornate?
'Cause this was a Works Progress Administration
Okay.
construction.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this was actually
Ugh.
renamed to Corteva Coliseum today. That
Literally?
happened today. Yeah,
What the fuck is a
Oh.
Corteva?
it's some kind of big agribusiness.
Of course it is.
Oh, of
Okay.
course it is. Yeah.
Before
The,
that,
the
it was
Monsanto Farmers Coliseum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
before that it
Um,
was the Indiana Farmers Coliseum, and before that it was the Pepsi Coliseum.
Yeah,
Oh, I see where this is going.
You hate to see a kind of small local producer like Pepsi bought out by a Leviathan like Indiana farmers.
Yeah.
So it's funny. So there's a thing every year called the Royal Welsh Show. Like the UK has like farmers shows that are kind of have like lots of elements of this, but without some of the Americana.
Fun vibe, a lot cheaper.
Yeah, much cheaper. Yeah, and I suppose this is the parallel of like the fact the Royal Welsh Show happens every year. It's in the same place. It has permanent structures, so lots of it's like tents and temporary stuff. But for the thing that you need to have lots of people seated in every year, you might as well build a permanent thing that does that, right? Which I guess is what this is.
Yeah.
Right? It could be a tent, but actually, by the time you've built an enormous bloody tent with all the seats once a year, just build a permanent structure, right?
Yeah, it comes in useful in the off season for miscellaneous. Plus, I mean, this isn't really a Coliseum; it's like a medium museum, but like,
yeah.
But so Indiana Farmers Coliseum, named after the Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Company, who uses Garfield as its mascot.
Legal?
I bet they paid like $5 in like 1932 for it, and they've just ridden off the back of it since.
Now, why do they use Garfield
Googling the
as their
age of
mascot?
Garfield. Why? Yeah, that's a good question. Why did they?
Because Garfield lives in Indiana.
No, that can't be true. I refuse to accept
Google's
that.
Garfield.
You're not
Garfield,
telling me that Garfield is an Indianan.
No, Garfield lives in Indiana.
I'm not. No, prove it. Where's this? Show us the long form birth certificate.
He lives in Muncie.
There's also a kind of element of like a kind of John Grisham or James Elroy thing here, where it's like the Indiana Farmers Mutual Insurance Company is they'll kill you in the sense that that's like a probably like a multi-billion-dollar corporation somehow that is just like ostensibly and like, you know, grew out of like two guys in dungarees being like bury my money in this barn, but like now is like this kind of terrifying thing that has like tendrils all over the world that extends from Indianapolis and is now like having a guy beaten to death in a back alley in Kowloon somehow, you know?
So they actually have a big Garfield mascot who hangs out in the stadium.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
the mask of capital is a Garfield face, you know?
The creator of Garfield is a resident of he's an Indiana native.
And he's
from
a lunatic.
Yeah,
Is
he's from Marion. I don't know where that is.
I mean, like, I know the Dilbert guy is insane. But like,
so sorry.
I was starting to worry there was something like wrong with cartoonists.
Like even more.
So sorry. Jim Davis, as far as I know, is normal.
The only one we can trust is Heathcliff.
I mean, he did draw John drawing dog cum that one time, so you know, maybe not that normal, but
that's a good Garfield right there.
We can find that, Dev, if you just Google. Well, don't Google Garfield dog cum, but like find it and then
God damn it!
I don't know how you find it.
Thing. Yeah,
so there's a lot of Garfields out there that are kind of mediocre. That one's a good one.
The thing is, I find Garfield very, very germane to like the kind of absurdism of putting like Garfield out of order or Garfield without Garfield, so it's just John talking to himself.
Right.
Or my favorite was the one that there's one panel of Garfield where Garfield is being flung upside down, T-posed out of a window, and if you tag that on as the third panel of any Garfield comic, it's still funny.
So, this is the Corteva Coliseum, I guess, again, as of today. It kind of looks like old Boston Garden. I like it a lot. This is a very handsome building.
It does, yeah.
It is nice, yeah.
Reminds me of this is some shit from Tropico, kind of, which big fan.
It's also I really like the ticket windows here. I assume these have been boarded up because they put HVAC back there or something, but they got like, the grading is all corn stalks.
Yes. It looks beautiful.
It's very nice. Yeah. Of course, it's corn stalks. Yeah. Oh, that is nice. I like a little detail like that.
Oh yeah. Well, it's interesting. The Works Progress Administration sort of invented a new order of columns. Where the capital
it was like functionally they were an ancient Greek city-state for like a week. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Where the capital is like a corn stalk as opposed to the ancient Greek whatever. I forget.
The Ionic, the Doric, the American. I mean, fuck. I feel a little bit like patriotic by proxy. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a multi-purpose arena. It could be set up for ice hockey, basketball. It could be set up for concerts. Again, this is built by the Works Progress Administration in 1939 to replace the 1907 Livestock Pavilion. It formerly was the host of the Indiana Pacers, and
Reggie
no less
Miller.
than 7 ice hockey teams, none of which were in the
they
NHL.
they sure are trying.
Doing ice hockey in Indiana angers God. I think this is clear at this point to everyone except Indianans.
It's a lot better than doing it in Las Vegas.
Oh, fuck the Knights, dude.
Yeah. 6,800 seats when configured for basketball, 6,200 for ice hockey. Today it's just not big or modern enough for professional athletics. They all moved downtown to the Gainbridge Fieldhouse. They still use it for smaller events and concerts and like high school sports and stuff like that. They hosted the Beatles in 1964.
Wow.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Just
And
like
the recording for it was just solid screaming, as every Beatles live act recording was.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this is a pretty nice venue, in my opinion. Now we have to talk about fire inspections.
I desire this car aesthetically.
Fire marshal, yeah.
let me drive this around. Okay, everybody got mad at me, right? I got a new compromise thing that's going to make only 70% of the people mad at me. Let me be a fire marshal. You get the car. I think they give you a gun. You definitely have a badge. That's like most of the ways you're like
Fire
a
Brigade
cop.
good, right?
I think
good.
so.
Fire police in PA, I don't think carry firearms.
The guy, our friend here
They
on
have
the
to. It's
right
got
of the
fire
photo
right
seems to be enjoying it as well. He seems to be puckering at the fire marshal vehicle.
Just
He
like,
seems quite pleased.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. He's going.
I was.
"Ooh." Yeah.
That white. No, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yeah. So for any building that's like a large venue, fire inspections are important and ought to be conducted regularly.
Yeah, by a guy with the cool as possible of a car. Like,
Yes. These inspections are the purview of the fire marshal. During these inspections, of course, you're looking for anything that might cause a fire or which may impede evacuation if a fire were to occur. Like, a whole bunch of crap stored in a stairwell.
yeah,
Or a bunch
padlocked
of-
emergency exits.
Yeah, padlock doors, improperly stored flammables or whatever, right? Now, fire inspections are important, but they only work if you actually have the manpower and the wherewithal to do them.
One of the first things that any fire department facing budget pressures cuts.
Yeah.
Yep.
This stuff. Yeah, exactly.
In Indianapolis in 1963, there was a problem with both of these. The Indianapolis Fire Department had shortened the work week from 70 hours to a leisurely 63 hours.
Oh god.
Fucking
those lazy
whoops.
pricks.
Yeah.
They read, they read the thing about 8 hours for work, 8 hours for leisure, another 8 hours for leisure.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically how much the French work. This resulted in a shortage of manpower.
Fire police do not carry weapons.
Hmm.
Sorry that took me so long.
Still a cool job title though.
Yeah, they're basically just glorified
true.
traffic cops, but they
What's the car look like? Let me Google this right quick.
I think it's municipal based, but there are some that are like pretty sick.
Fire police car. I'm just seeing a lot of police cars on fire.
No, do fire police Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's pretty sick. A bunch of like old like 90s SUVs, like an
Yeah.
old disaster movie. Okay, that's sick.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, that's a nice vibe. You just know that in the UK, it's a hatchback Astra.
A 1990 Suburban that you have to drive for work. Incredible. Fuck the climate. This rules.
Pennsylvania does it different, baby.
I don't know. Someone's going to have to send this to Devin so they can put it up on the screen.
All right, keep
I'm
going.
not going to remember to do that. Anyway.
No, we're not going to remember
She's
to do
so
that.
tired, bros.
Mm.
Now, furthermore, the fire chief in Indianapolis believed that because the Coliseum was state-owned property,
Oh boy.
it was outside of his jurisdiction, even though it was inside the city limits.
You got to have some kind of state fire marshal, you know?
Yes. Thus, the inspections were rare and only cursory. Usually they just inspected it right before the state fair, even though the Coliseum was leased to promoters and held events throughout the year.
Uh-huh.
Now, you might ask, okay, what's the risk of fire in a fireproof Coliseum?
Hey, you can't burn down a Coliseum. I haven't seen
Yeah,
Gladiator 2 yet, so I assume.
It's all made of brick and like concrete and metal,
Yeah.
right?
It's
But-
ice hockey. You got ice in there. Was
Yeah,
the
there's
ice,
ice.
was the
Ice
ice going to
doesn't
catch
burn.
fire?
It might. I don't like
But-
that. Oh, Ross.
wait a
I don't
minute.
like that.
Ice,
Well,
if you
we-
make
we will
ice,
talk
you have
about
something
the
which
ice,
will
but not in the
fucking
context
pit,
of
okay.
fire. In the Coliseum, of course, they serve concessions.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm hungry.
Concessions need to be heated.
Oh boy, it's gonna suck.
It's
ass,
just a
isn't it?
shitload of burning corn dogs.
Yeah, this is about I want to say 4 miles north of the city center. There's no municipal gas line out here, so the heat comes from propane, which needs to be stored. Where's there a lot of room for storage in a Coliseum?
The basement.
Under the
like,
seats.
Oh, oh.
Now, do you see a problem that may develop here?
I'm not. I'm deliberately not. I'm looking at the corn dog. I'm thinking
Nobody
about
goes in
how
there.
good a corn dog's gonna taste, and I'm just not thinking about it.
So for anyone who uses the Asda in Adel in North Leeds, there's a space underneath that Asda that's called by the staff called the Void. Because when they built the Asda, they built the Asda was it's basically a giant warehouse. They built it flat, but it was built on a plot that was on a slight slope, and the Void, the bit that you could actually access without stooping, had lights. It was kind of like basically fine. They used it for storing stuff. But they also store stuff in the Void, which was the bit where you open a door, go in, there were no lights, and it disappeared off into infinity under this,
you can't call
80-meter
it
long
that.
building.
You can't be like, hey, can you store this bag of like crisps or whatever in this pallet in the void?
That is literally what they did, yes. And what I love is there could be anything in there since that thing was built in presumably the late 90s. So, so if you're using Asda Adel, just be aware that you might be stood on above anything, and it could be flammable. It could be, who knows? So
Who's
Asda
the
Adel, shout out.
Yeah.
I've been addled by this information.
So, there's a problem that may develop here. We'll talk about here the commissary, which is located under aisle 13.
Oh.
I'm just going to read the caption here. This is an artist's conception of the approximate dispositions of materials in the concession commissary at the Coliseum. According to an eyewitness, a radiant heat device, number one, fired by propane gas, was used to heat pre-popped popcorn in a storage bin.
Not the popcorn heater.
A nearby
You're
tank
supposed to
of propane,
serve, man, not betray him.
To serve mankind.
a nearby tank of
Feeling like emotionally like the popcorn heater has betrayed its purpose.
I don't know why I just immediately, my mind just put you into a beret and you were just dressing down, like sergeants are just dressing down this like slightly sheepish looking popcorn machine. I don't know why.
That's
I
not
just
your
went there.
popcorn, that's the king's popcorn.
Oh dear, I must be delirious. Yeah.
Right there.
nearby-
Probably still hungover.
A nearby tank of propane apparently became overheated and the safety valve was popped, causing the gas to flow from the valve and the tank to fall over.
Oh no, I don't like that.
It's about 100-pound tank of propane. Another popcorn,
5-second rule. You pick it back
Yeah.
up, it's all good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
another popcorn storage bin, number 3 here, was being warmed by an electric cone-type heating element.
Right, okay. So as you're describing this, I know there's a little bit left for you to describe in this. I'm visualizing like 6 or 7 different like kind of like weird heating instructions of varying types and sizes.
Just
all
like
kind of just
individually
laid out
heating
haphazard.
popcorn kernels and like the music powerhouse is
Artisanal,
playing.
This is the propane popcorn. This is the electric popcorn. This is the charcoal popcorn.
Do you think the pop? Do you think it's like a popcorn
we have
connoisseur?
coal popcorn.
Yeah.
We also have bituminous coal popcorn.
I believe that like there was a point in the Pennsylvania State Fair's history where you could have got like anthracite popcorn. Yeah. I believe this.
Pennsylvania dominance.
Yeah.
Hey, you can still get. I mean, coal-fired pizza is still a thing that's single-handedly holding up the Pennsylvania anthracite industry.
Good grief! Yeah.
Also, still some home heating.
So all these things are wiggling and jiggling and falling over in this void underneath the seats at aisle 13.
Yeah.
What's really funny about this is this disaster happened on Halloween, and we didn't do it for the Halloween episode.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, why is your Halloween costume OSHA inspector?
This is on October 31st. It's maybe not in order here, but
that's rough if you get like blown up and you're wearing a costume. You know, you gotta go to the hospital and they're like, trying to reattach your arm. You're wearing a Dracula cape.
Sometime shortly before the events we are about to describe, a manager opened the door to the commissary, saw a thick fog inside, closed the door, and warned employees to get out.
I'll just put this over here with the rest of the propane.
One man went in to try to stop the leak and failed miserably. I don't know what happened to him. I'm going to be honest.
I have a guess. I have a guess. Like that's rough. Fucking trying to do the like Chernobyl reactor diver shit, but you're one Indianan man.
Yes.
You've got like fireworks, but it's popcorn exploding around you. Like give
that man the Indiana Medal of Honor. Like he went into the the gap of danger, right?
Like in the popcorn reactor.
The
reactor number 4.
He was in the popcorn reactor vessel. What is this if not a pressure vessel to contain popcorn reactors?
You have to dip the control rods in, but they're corn dogs.
No, like, granted, the pressure differential is 1-to-1, but it's a pressure vessel for containing popcorn reactions.
Yeah.
So now you may ask, okay, why are these things running at all? What's the event? It's not the state fair. It's a separate event, which the Coliseum was rented out for. It was, of course, the performance of Holiday on Ice.
Oh, no.
Oh, this looks like it sucks.
No. Well, it's got to suck a little more, Nova.
This is a very long-running
It's too early for this,
show.
but this is what you get for doing Christmas before Thanksgiving.
It's not even Christmas themed is the interesting part.
It said holiday.
Yeah. No, they do like a different
like
theme
non-denominational.
Every holiday?
Yeah, this one was Kwanzaa, weirdly enough.
Yeah, I think they have done a Kwanzaa themed show. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with the ice show scene, but I believe this was actually the first one, and it is still running to this day.
I went to say, fucking Shenyang, China before communism on ice.
But yeah, this is on October 31st, 1963. It's the first show of an 11-day run of Holiday on Ice.
Grim.
Now, this show starts a little late, but not so late as to cause an uproar. It starts at 8:45 instead of 8:30. So the show was supposed to wrap up around 11:15 instead of 11 as scheduled.
Charlie Chaplin at the front there.
Yeah.
Very good.
There's
and
4,000...
me boy moding standing next to him.
Yeah.
Devin, you can put that picture up if you want.
There's 4,327 spectators for opening night. With the propane slowly filling the commissary.
God. It's
Now, at 11:06.
Oh God!
As the show is
at
wrapping
11:06, we pop the fuck out of some corn. So we pop more corn, to a greater extent than has ever previously been popped.
The corn popped.
My God,
the corn pop heard round the world.
Yes. Just as the finale began at aisle 13, there was an enormous boom just underneath the box seats. A 700 square foot section of the seating and floor flew up into the air and came back down, smashing a load-bearing wall below, which collapsed and took out another 500 square feet of floor with it.
Jesus, is like a mortar, like a trench mortar.
Yes.
And in amongst all of it is just gallons of half-cooked popcorn.
Yes.
Just raining body parts and corn dogs.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It took a moment for anyone to figure out what had happened. Many of the people who were not directly viewing the exploded stands thought that since there had been small pyrotechnics as part of the performance, maybe this was actually part of the show. Until I looked and saw the destroyed stands.
People sat there with their hair like comedically like goths, like stretched to one side with like the comedy like Daffy Duck beat spun around the back of their head, going. Geez, was that part of the show? Or bloody hell!
It was soon clear there was a horrible accident. People were strewn across the ice. They were crushed under big concrete blocks. They were mangled in a big pit of debris. It was very ugly to behold.
This is a family show, right?
Yes, very much so. Now, despite this, there was general.
Could it not have been? I ask this rhetorically to God. Could it not have been a show that was like, for unlikable losers, right? Like people that you wouldn't miss, like anonymous showing up. Why is it always when the roof comes in? Why is it always the completely blameless here's a benefit we did for the local kids? Why does this never happen to the letting agents national convention?
November, only the good die young.
Forever,
yeah.
I mean, you joke about that, but the number of formative train crashes in the UK that involve like a holiday train full of children is it's actually notable.
Yeah, I was about to say, you see that big train
full
of...
Give this one to our drunkest driver.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this train is full of nuns and orphans. Let's give it to drunk Uncle Bob.
That's my Uncle Bob. Oh, we miss him every day.
So anyway, despite this huge explosion, by and large, there's an aura of calm in the auditorium, right, or in the Coliseum. The Holiday on Ice band, in fact, keeps playing to keep everyone calm.
Nearer, my God, to thee.
Yeah, people start to evacuate in an orderly fashion. That's when the second
honor. What?
The second explosion happens.
Oh no,
Mr. President!
Yes.
A second popcorn reactor has struck the Iowa State Coliseum.
This time there was a 40-foot fireball contained entirely within the Coliseum.
This was October 1963?
Yes.
They would have had to tell Kennedy about this. Yes. And Kennedy was like, damn, that's crazy. By the way, everything's still good for me to go to Dallas next month, right?
Surprising how often that comes up in this podcast.
Yeah, right? I don't know. It's like 9/11, right? I can relate stuff because I know the date of the Kennedy assassination because the Stephen King book. I can relate stuff chronologically to it. Huh. Just happy birthday. By the way, the president's been shot.
That apparently is how it went, yes.
Jesus.
The debris, with many trapped underneath, was now also on fire.
Just like trapped under concrete block. Like, well, this can't get any worse. The concrete block is now on fire.
Now on fire, yes. Lots of people were buried underneath concrete slabs weighing 5 to 10 tons.
Oh, you're not walking that off.
Again,
that's going to be.
Why can this never happen to like a Trump rally? You know,
because there's never enough of them there.
That's a good point. Yeah, it'd be embarrassing if like an empty section of stands
Why does
blew up.
why this and why not Trump on ice? Or I guess 1963 equivalent, so George Wallace on ice.
Yeah, George
Yeah.
Wallace on. Oh God,
Doing a
Step
long
away from the
spin and he's
wave.
just out there saying the word. Singing the word, actually. Got a beautiful contralto. It's I don't want to hand it to him, but it's like it's really technically impressive.
This now this fire dies down pretty quickly because it is being fueled by the propane, which sort of
Burns off.
disperses, right? Yeah, but
Yeah,
it does
yeah.
burn a lot of people.
At least it burns off clean, odorless. You're not
I was
like
about to say,
given
yeah.
that charcoal scent
Yeah,
aside from
yeah,
your
yeah,
own
it's
gonna be all of us
guys
having
and
to
body.
that much
Yeah.
skin and
Stinky
hair.
corpse.
Hope you're not wearing polyester.
Oh, it's the 60s. Everyone's wearing polyester.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, you are going up like a Christmas tree.
So it's very apparent pretty early on that a lot of people are dead or injured, right? An off-duty firefighter called the Indianapolis Fire Department within minutes of the explosion, saying there are probably 50 to 100 people injured in his estimation. Police were on the scene by 11:15, shortly followed by the media, and only then by the fire department.
The budget cuts again.
Yeah,
that
American-
63-hour work week really cutting into in response times.
The American Red Cross and the Salvation Army also dispatched personnel. Civil defense arrived on the scene.
If I'm
Countless
dying
other-
and this fucking Salvation Army are trying to save me, let me die. Put me back in. Put me back in.
Yep. Right there with you.
You put that concrete block back on top of me.
More weight.
You got civil defense, countless other rescue and relief organizations. Just they hear about this and they send everything they can, right?
Oh dear.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
What resulted was an enormous traffic jam of emergency equipment.
Incident command management
Yes.
is a skill.
Gold, silver, bronze. It's actually very important to manage this stuff extremely carefully.
Yeah.
In fact, you can sort of see this in this picture. This is inside the auditorium. You can see a lot of ambulances. You can see a tow truck here. You can see probably a police car over here that's sort of blocking a way out.
A lot of people milling around.
Yeah.
Like no clear function.
Yeah, it's just like, damn, look at that.
Yeah, that's an aftermath type job. That's what the NTSB or the sort of like accident investigation board do,
It's also a situation. It's easy for me to post-mortem this. I would not be bringing vehicles in here. I would be I'd be human training people in and out so that you have clear working space. Because also you're doing all the excavation of material and
So everyone races the Coliseum. I mean, the first and biggest problem was the police, right?
Always is.
Yeah. They had more officers on duty than normal because it was Halloween, right? All the kids are getting into mischief.
Uh-huh.
So they
Yeah,
all
people are
race
putting
to the
fentanyl in the 60s candies.
Exactly.
Those kids
They raced
deserved
to
it.
Guys, it was like, what was the 1960s drug of choice?
Quaaludes, bud.
Putting
I guess-
Quaaludes in my 1960s candy and poisoning a bunch of racist children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
they
no.
Either that or what's the one? What's the one that gave all the nasty birth defects?
Thalidomide,
Dowamine.
bud.
So of course they rush the Coliseum. They park all their squad cars at the sort of jaunty angle typical of police.
Yeah.
I
ran
love
into the Coliseum.
parking. It's
Yeah.
one of the most like offensive things. Just to be like, I'm parked at like a 70-degree angle across like 3 handicapped spaces and a bike lane.
Mhm.
I'm gonna leave it parked there for 4.5 hours.
Yeah. There's blocked access for everyone else.
Yeah, you'll get nothing and like it.
Of those
The thin-
vehicles
the thin
and
blue line.
personnel that made it to the scene, there was very little that could be done for anyone but the
One-
most accessible victims.
One of the more satisfying videos I've seen on YouTube is an FDNY engine physically moving an NYPD car that was blocking it out of the way and just sort of like idly crushing it and pushing it aside.
You piece of shit. Get out of my way. The debris was, of course, too heavy to lift by hand, so police radioed for tow trucks and mobile cranes. And the tow truck showed up, a whole shitload of them, and they were of no use. They needed to lift the debris, not drag it around and potentially injure more people.
Yeah, dragging the 6-ton concrete block off my legs, just smearing the whole lower half of my body across the ice.
About to say you get turned into an uncooked smash burger.
Oh.
Yeah. Finally, by 11:35, police from neighboring Speedway. I don't know if you could call Speedway a neighboring municipality. It's entirely surrounded by Indianapolis. They managed to locate and borrow a mobile crane, which was then given the world's slowest police escort to the site of the disaster, arriving at 12:50 a.m. And then it got stuck in the traffic jam.
Of course.
So we're nearly 2 hours. Correct me if I'm wrong on the timeline. We're nearly 2 hours now after the event, right?
2 hours after the event, the mobile crane makes it there. Here it is over here. It's on tracks because it's 1963. It's not one of the new ones that can go fast.
Of course.
Yeah. The coroner of Marion County arrived at 11:45 p.m. Right. He managed to fight his way through the ambulances and fire trucks and heavy equipment, civil defense vehicles, Salvation Army canteen trucks, so on and so forth.
Ice cream vans.
He's
ice cream
punching
van.
his way through chaplains like the opening of Airplane.
Yeah.
I provide important pastoral care to the pow.
Well, I was thinking of a separate scene from Airplane where they dispatch all the emergency vehicles and they have the air stairs and the Budweiser truck. That's what's coming into the area here.
Well, you're near the Indy 500.
Shriners Heavy Rescue Squad. It's a little tiny truck.
You've got 20
It was Shriners Night, actually.
Oh my
Shriners
God.
were there.
Fez is on the ground.
Oh no. They're tiny hats.
When the coroner shows up, he is the first physician on scene.
Jesus Christ. To do is there a doctor in the house and it's 2 hours later?
I'm here. Sorry, I've been drinking.
Oh no, it's only 11:45.
Okay.
He's there. The crane hasn't arrived yet.
Understood.
So
45 minutes is still pretty bad, though.
Yeah.
People died by that point who would have not otherwise.
He's the
what are you
first
doing
person
but triage, Just be like dead, almost dead, almost dead.
Well, he's too overworked to triage. The only thing he can do is give the trapped victims who are not yet dead some comfort in the form of lots of morphine.
Yeah, that tracks.
I'll do it.
Until the crane showed up and additional physicians, it wasn't until 12:50 when they could set up a makeshift morgue. Now, conveniently, they were on an ice rink. So, they...
Well, that's convenient,
Yeah,
good place to have it,
Yeah, exactly.
At least one aspect of this was well planned by accident.
By accident, yeah. So, there's the makeshift morgue in the foreground of this photo.
Jesus.
About 11:50, the police chief of Indianapolis finally showed up to the scene, having also fought his way through other emergency vehicles, set up a command post to finally get all these various relief organizations organized.
Yeah, it turns out that's important. You can't just throw things at the thing and hope it works itself out.
Yeah, so we finally have some traffic control. All right, so here is the Coliseum here. Here is the adjacent building, which at the time was known as the Cattle Barn.
Yeah,
is that because it was a barn that had cattle in it?
Am I seeing a Salvation Army canteen directly in front of the site of the explosion?
Yes, they got in really early and started making coffee.
Oh, that's nice of them. I have some suggestions for what they should do with it. I hate the fucking Salvation Army, and I wasn't expecting to come out of this episode with a second reason.
I'm so proud of you.
They'll get you.
Yeah. Union busters, they hate gay people. They will take your unused surplus clothing, though. I don't know.
And they'll cover up abuse scandals in the process.
Yeah, they do that
they
as
love
well.
doing it.
All right, so there's this solid mass of emergency vehicles blocking all routes in and out of the Coliseum. There's no
Emergency response is
coordination.
so cool, dude.
There's no coordination between any relief organizations. The chief of police takes control, sets up an actual command post in the fair's administrative building. That's down here or over here, depending on which of these images you're looking at. He ordered the fairgrounds sealed off until they could figure out what the hell was going on, while local relief organizations were still bombarding the site with ambulances, buses, fire trucks, wreckers.
These things are piling up like it's like
a
Blues Brothers.
Demolition Derby,
They're sending.
Like, this is like Kleinstaaterei. This is like every fucking county just has a like volunteer fire service that it just has no coordination and is just sending in more shit.
Yeah. The funeral homes are even sending in hearses. There's dozens of cars full of various volunteers from like civil defense, from like they got Red Cross and Salvation Army.
In fairness to the funeral homes, a lot of them were like ambulance services also at this point. In fact, the sort of like form of the ambulance evolved out of the hearses. They ran a few as like so-called combination cars for a long time.
That's convenient if you die en route.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Just change the sign over.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little roller like in a bus. You just roll it from like funeral into funeral from ambulance.
Not in service.
I believe the army was saturating the area with army ambulances.
Oh my god!
I'm just visualizing, it's like a van turns up and a bunch of mimes get out and start doing it.
Army brackets salvation, army brackets regular,
army brackets mime.
This is I think a big win for Colossal Order, the publishers of Cities Skylines. You thought emergency vehicle traffic jams were fake. No, they're very real.
No, they are. This reminds me of a top-down video game I used to play called... do you remember the Emergency series? I think they released it as like 911 First Responders. I used to love that game.
Talking about.
Love that fucking game. Never really got a proper sequel. I think there's like a free-to-play one now. But yeah, like large part of it is like there's a gap in the market for that kind of like incident command management RTS game, you know?
The local churches were sending priests and ministers in cars.
Oh my god.
I was joking about having to fight your way through a bunch of clergy, but like
every denomination is represented.
I was about to say we found the one like Shinto guy in
he's in there, he's ringing a little bell, you know.
So the chief of police is like,
just on the radio, like, have you got the concrete blocks off the guys yet? And some poor Indianapolis firefighter is like, no, but I did learn that the temple bells reflect the impermanence of all human life. You know?
So,
chief, I got no attachments over here.
The chief of police at the command post finally says, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have a triage in the cattle barn. Cattle barn is just an open space. It's not like full of like dirt on the floor and crap, but they do put cattle in there for the state fair. But it wasn't the state fair, so there's no cows in there. We're going to do that. We're going to move the police vehicles out of the arena and away from the area. We are going to have a one-way loop for ambulances through the cattle barn to pick people up.
They're doing traffic design.
It's a good system. It's a good system, and it's actually a convenient site for it. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. It's indoors. It's enclosed. Because you can drive vehicles in and out of the building. I believe there were specific gates for the entrance and exit.
Can draw a nice clean diagram of it too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I guess very quickly. So the in the Google Earth image you've got on screen, Roz, there's loads of car parking space. I'm guessing that wasn't necessarily quite as extensive then. It might have just been like open fields, maybe.
I do not think so, but I don't know.
Yeah. I just think because, if he's saying do it in the barn, I presume it was covered. It was the right space to do that. Like they didn't have all that big open concrete of tarmac. Because the thing I'd have been saying is, okay, all your vehicles fuck off over there. You can go around in circles. I don't care. Just leave. All of you go away, and I will come for you if you're needed. If there's this bizarre like Blues Brothers kind of pile up going on with all the like siren, like people turning up and the sirens going woo, woo.
It's completely
You know.
deafening. So they moved the police cars out. They let the mobile crane into the arena finally after making a space for it, so they could finally pick up these big concrete blocks. And they moved the Salvation Army canteen truck into the Coliseum for the coffee. I think they set up a grill as well.
Cool. I would not feel very hungry, but you know.
Well, I just hope it's not a propane grill.
I would like a hot dog.
Yeah. But there's still further disorganization occurring, right? So while they're being bombarded with ambulances, no one's coordinating which hospital do we send these people
genius.
to.
Oh my god.
There was some instruction. There's a vague idea. Okay, we're going to balance this between the hospitals. We're going to, because there's a lot of hospitals available. Specifically, the Samaritan Hospital was very well prepared to receive quite a lot of victims from this. Although no one was really prepared because no one thought to contact the hospitals beforehand. Hey, there's been an incident.
Yeah. Oh, this is quality disaster response.
Pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Send a guy in one of the 50
right.
cars
Send
that you
him,
have parked blocking the entrance.
Yeah.
So most ambulance drivers just brought people to the nearest hospital, which was Presbyterian Hospital, which was pretty full up and not really prepared to handle a lot of people. They got 120 victims, while the Samaritan Hospital, which was better prepared, only received 27.
Okay.
There were like 8 more hospitals that got victims, and a lot of them were like just not prepared for it at all. They only found out there was an emergency when there were 50
Like a
ambulances
convoy of
showed
ambulances
up with
pulls up, yeah.
people with traumatic head injuries.
It's like 50 Draculas have showed up in the ER.
Yes.
Covered in fake blood and real blood.
Yeah, the Draculae.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then began the grim job of identifying the dead. The morgue was set up and they installed temporary rubber flooring so as to prevent the friends and relatives of the deceased from slipping on the ice in the frozen pools of blood.
Raising hand. How many times do you think that happened before they put in the temporary rubber flooring?
Good question.
A lot.
Just
Given
like,
how much of a shit show this has been, they've definitely they've definitely hospitalized multiple family members. Yeah.
I gotta say, I imagine all the emergency workers are constantly slipping and falling in this incident.
Yeah, exactly. I've played Mario Kart. That's exactly how this went.
Yeah. Can't you got to have like the reverse Zamboni come out and rough up the ice. I mean,
human remains.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
What's Zamboni backwards? Hold on. The Inobmaz. Yeah.
Yes.
Fucking send one of those out.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the first people came in to identify the deceased around 3:00 in the morning. By 7:30 in the morning, there was actually a line out the door from the amount of people who managed to force their personal vehicles through the emergency vehicles.
Oh my god!
And the tow trucks. And
at least there's like 500 different chaplains and ministers and shit to try and comfort them.
Yeah, everyone's there's like 4,500 people there to give last rites.
Yeah, it's like many dead, but like none of them went to hell.
Yeah. Nah, they went to extra heaven. They got so many last rites.
Bonus heaven.
That's how it works, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So many sacraments. I got like
the Catholicism bonus episode is coming.
The secret extra sacrament. Now, 5 propane tanks were discovered in the wreckage belonging to the Midwest Gas Corporation. These were removed from the scene as evidence, but with caveats. We'll get to that in the next slide. By 4 p.m. the next day, all victims had been identified save for 2 of them. All survivors had been removed from the building. Emergency workers had all left save for a few state police guarding the site. By the way, there had been jurisdictional conflict this whole time between the Indianapolis police and the state police as to who should be running this. Yeah. It was gradually handed over to the state police as the night wore on. In the end, 81 people were dead and over 400 were injured.
Jesus.
Oh boy.
And in the confusion, something strange had happened.
Oh no. Did someone forget to do the S in S&R? Like, did someone forget to do the search and rescue and there's just still like guys under the thing?
No, someone was searching, but not for the victims.
The piñata dog?
Several lawyers had managed to infiltrate the blast site mere minutes after it happened. I don't know how that phone call went.
A fucking orbital dropped in? Like, how the fuck?
Yeah.
We need you to drive at like 120 miles an hour in the shoulder past like a giant, like a lane full of bumper to bumper fire trucks and ambulances.
Yeah.
Get in there and start suing people.
Yeah, the first people on the scene, the lawyers.
I'm like a legal first responder. I'm like a legal observer at a protest. I've got like a fluorescent green hat, and I'm just there like serving people.
They're paralegals, yeah. These lawyers come in, they clamber over the wreckage, they ignore the dead, the injured, and the dying, and went straight for the propane tanks and removed crucial parts, the valves and the hoses and so on and so forth.
Oh my God.
They were stopped.
I need Indiana cops to learn how to set up a cordon ever, maybe. Like, it's French for line.
Yeah. They were stopped by the state police and they were ejected from the arena without the evidence that they tried to steal, but the damage had been done. You know,
the evidence got like one loafer on a guy's head, the other one braced against the propane tank, trying to pull the hose off of it.
The evidence had been thoroughly and completely tampered with.
Good grief.
Jesus.
So these lawyers, do we know, I might be about to shoot your fox, Roz, but like, do you know whose lawyers were these? Were these the site's lawyers?
I am not sure. I had difficulty.
It's a mysterious gang of lawyers.
Well,
they said gas company, like the.
Yeah, it said they represented an Indianapolis law firm, which is fairly obvious. I don't know who they were in the employ of. I didn't. I unfortunately never quite gleaned that information.
Grisham ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like rogue state lawyers just popping out of nowhere.
So anyway,
SWAT team.
The police recovered the evidence. The tanks were sent to Purdue University for analysis. What do you know? The tanks had been stored next to a heat source. The gas inside expanded. The safety valve did its job and vented the excess gas. A vast quantity of propane built up in a commissary and exploded the box seats when it found an ignition source. The National Liquid Petroleum Gas Association attempted to dispute this by saying, well, what if it was a steam leak or a carbon dioxide leak?
I mean, you don't really, that's a kind of commitment to like evil that you don't see in as many industry concerns outside of the like, you know, oil and gas industry these days.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Tobacco and like arms dealers. But like, in general, though, your average like corporate lobbyist for the thing that kills people accidentally won't go as hard as this until it's in court. But like in public, to be like, yeah, you know, maybe it's just fucking swamp gas.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's to say?
From like the letter they sent, it seemed like even they didn't really believe it themselves. But you know, we have to send a letter.
A bunch of like propane valves falling out of my pockets. It's like, yeah, this could have been anything, you know?
Yeah. A grand jury was convened to assign blame. They indicted no less than 7 individuals: the Indianapolis fire chief, the state fire marshal, 3 individuals from the gas distributor, Discount Gas Corporation.
Would not buy my gas from them.
Yeah, no, I'm amazed they're doing business.
The general and concessions manager for the Coliseum were both indicted. and everyone sort of through legal proceeding managed to shift the blame around adequately enough that they're all acquitted.
Mm.
Absolutely
just
standard,
like,
yeah.
forget it, Jake. It's Indiana town.
Yeah.
Like, I did.
In particular, the manager of the Coliseum managed to argue that he had no idea he needed a permit for indoor storage of propane, and that, hey, the propane had been stored there in full view of inspectors for over 10 years at this point. Come on.
Who presumably just
Absolutely
gave a big
ace
thumbs
defense.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good grief.
So ultimately, new procedures were put into place to ensure propane was not stored indoors at the arena. The Coliseum would be regularly inspected by the fire department going forward. There were about $4.6 million in settlements from the gas company, about $70 million in insurance claims overall. And the Coliseum, well, they managed to reopen it in only 6 weeks.
Jesus. I mean, I
What?
guess you just pour some more concrete, like hose it down, but like
get the blood off,
they just
yeah.
had this area roped off.
Oh,
put a tarp
oh,
over it.
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It looks like the
Goddamn,
fucking
folks.
Fuhrer bunker in there. Like,
Jesus Christ.
They fully repaired it in only a few months. Holiday on
Oof.
Ice returned the following year, despite
thank God.
them
Return
thinking
to
maybe
normalcy,
people,
baby.
yeah.
despite fears that people would be afraid to go to the performance. No, they sold out the arena.
Yep.
Um,
Yep, that tracks.
Indiana
much-
strong.
yeah, not too much later than that, the Beatles play the Coliseum. But
Indiana weird.
yeah, as a
Indiana
result of
weird.
the explosion, the Indianapolis Capitals hockey team moved to Cincinnati.
This
Bummer.
is a really grave sort of like consequence of this,
Yes, exactly. But this is the worst thing to happen this is the worst disaster in Indiana history. But there would never be another major incident at the Indianapolis State Fair until an inadequately secured stage collapsed in 2011 in a thunderstorm and killed a lot of people in the audience and also a stagehand.
Well, I remember, was this a Beyonce gig?
No, it was,
No, this was country
Sugarland?
music thing.
Yeah.
Sugarland, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I do remember there being a stage collapse. Yeah, good grief. They're not good.
Yeah.
So we learned a lot then. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of structural issues at the Indiana.
Yeah, you can
State
tell
Fair,
those columns are meant to be vertical, and instead they're all the way
Yes.
over and not
They're all the
attached
way over.
anymore. They've
Yeah, there's
invented a new
gaps.
style of column, as Ionic, Doric, Corinthian, American, and whatever this is.
Oh, this is like Viollet Leduc was always, wanted to experiment with angled columns. So,
Oh my God.
but yeah, that is the story of the Indiana State Fair explosion of 1963, or State Fair Coliseum. It
Yeah,
wasn't at the State Fair.
Horrifying. Thank you.
Yeah.
Grimy.
What did we learn?
Put down some
yeah.
like mats before you have your morgue on
Cordon
ice.
off shit.
That's true. Yeah.
I would say-
Don't store stuff in the void.
Fuck the Salvation Army.
Yeah, for a different reason than we thought going in.
Yeah.
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 My main lesson is do not store propane indoors.
Do
Gareth.
not store propane. I'm just writing it down.
Just writing it
Okay,
down. This may be an actionable item there, bud.
Yeah. Always store propane in a well-ventilated space.
Away from popcorn maker.
Oh, yeah. Don't store it next to the popcorn maker.
Or the debts. Understood. Okay, yep, good.
Mhm,
Good.
mhm, mhm.
Well, that was absolutely horrifying. Yeah, crikey. Oh. I suppose we have a segment on this podcast.
Called Safety Third.
Shake hands with danger.
Oh,
Dear, well, there's your problem hosts and also guests who are present.
Wrong.
No, they're not.
No.
While not as life or death as some of the submissions to Safety Third, I hope these two brief anecdotes illuminate the disaster of so-called small business that Americans claim to love so much.
Uh-huh. For instance, you appear to have some kind of rat king of dogs here.
I was about to say, it took me a while when I saw this picture. Is this 2 dogs or just one really fucked up dog?
Yeah, where's the ass? What's going on? I mean, I'm already happy because I can see dogs, but also where's the ass? I'm confused.
Sort of a biblically accurate dog.
Dog king.
Yeah. I previously worked as an environmental consultant, creating reports assessing the environmental risk of a property during a sale. In October of 2020, I traveled alone to a fairly remote, small factory in Michigan, which did plastic injection molding.
Sounds like the opening to an extremely well-reviewed narrative indie game.
Yeah. But match the picture on the right perfectly. Yeah.
They were housing eldritch horrors there.
Yeah.
Very, very fluffy ones.
Oh.
While not as intensive a process as other manufacturing, this process does involve the use of huge, complex machines, applying 8,000 psi to make plastic parts from pellets. Now, my first red flag was a Trump flag. Actually, it was strung across the front of the factory, at least 6 feet by 10 feet in size. I was expecting a typical light manufacturing facility, but you can imagine my surprise when the husband and wife owners led me through rooms full of ugly furniture to their bedroom where a Trump rally was playing on television.
To the bedroom? To fuck them? Like what?
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems here. That is one of them, but also, yes, they lived in the factory, which was a converted shop school.
There's a lot going on here already.
Yeah.
The median American voter somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Venturing outside, I discovered they had 4 dogs. Not mean guard dogs, but some big fluffy ones and tiny yappers.
There's definitely dogging is something. There are things going on here. Are the dogs a metaphor or?
Yeah, it's like Silent Hill. The dog is a metaphor for your kind of like loss of connection, you know?
Yeah.
They then proceeded to let all 4 dogs run around the active production floor where the giant and very old machines were operating, including 25 or more open drip pans of hydraulic oil.
Oh boy.
Leave the dogs alone. I'm not. No.
What?
Probably should not allow dogs in that space.
No.
People are fucking stupid, man. Yeah, keep going.
There are around 30 55-gallon drums with random chemicals labeled on the side. And I asked for the purpose of all of these chemicals, and he stated he bought them all at auction, and thus they were all mislabeled.
I went down to the chemicals auction and I bought some
What?
drums kind of at
I just
random.
bought some random drums, and I thought they were cool.
This just feels like a money laundering operation for money.
Every time I try to understand Trump's people, I
Don't.
learn something like this and it just slips further from my grasp again.
I would probably go down to the chemicals auction and buy some chemicals, though. That sounds fun.
All right, man.
Justin,
Yeah.
who did you
For
vote
the
for?
basement next to the basement nuke. Yeah.
I voted for a woman who lost.
Mm,
Same thing I do every election.
Jill Stein.
We don't talk about that. In fact, there were huge amounts of random equipment he had bought at auction with no discernible purpose.
Oh, Liam, you are absolutely on the money with the money laundering. 100%. That's what's going
Money
on.
laundering / hoarding.
I wonder how those dogs are doing now.
Bad.
Oh,
Mm,
Keep it moving. I don't want to think about
Yeah.
the dogs too hard.
A second small business disaster I inspected involved a car dealership with a large auto repair shop.
he went by the name of John Taliban.
Auto repairs typically pump their drains or oil water. Auto repair places typically pump their drains or oil water separators. I'm going to say that's what that's supposed to read. Regularly, as a lot of used oils flow to the floor drains in the repair bay. Most I have been to have done this cleaning annually, if not more frequently. The manager I was interrogating seemed bewildered when I asked about the frequency of cleaning. It had not been done since he started in 1997, which was the year I was born.
Oh, it's your twin. The oil is your twin. It's the
Yeah.
same age as you.
Furthermore, the new and used oil tanks were in one room I refused to step in, as the leaking oil was several inches deep, uselessly
What?
covered with rags and cardboard.
Are they trying to create a conflagration? Like, oh, we just toss the flammable stuff in that room.
Yeah, I just throw some leaking propane
It's the
in
fire
there too.
room. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just put this over here with the rest of the fire. Yeah. The oil leak was so bad that it was seeping through the cinder block walls into the adjoining rooms.
Oh God.
What the fuck?
While I was appalled with what I saw, as someone who cares even a little about the environment, there's no guarantee they have to do anything to fix or clean this.
Especially not now.
The facility had also never bothered to clean up the leaks from the historic underground storage tanks, which is probably still polluting the groundwater to this day.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Now I work with the ongoing engineering disaster that is NEPA, the National Environmental Protection Act, I believe is what that is. But I am glad to have seen many wild and interesting things in America's back rooms at this job. See photo 2.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
kidding.
That's a back room. Yeah. Yeah.
I've been here since the first episode, and I appreciate you all very much.
Aw.
From Charlotte.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thanks, Charlotte. No. I part of me finds the idea of the flammable stuff room humorous, but also I suspect that building is no longer as intact as it was when that anecdote was created.
We sort these rooms by flammability, like highest to lowest.
Jesus.
Well, that was safety third.
Shake hands with danger.
Our next episode will be on Chernobyl. Does anyone have any commercials before we go?
I think we hit them.
Yeah.
Yeah, my book launched last night, and I got
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, so it's on sale. Go buy the book.
Buy the book.
How the Rails will fix
Buy
the future.
book.
Buy the book.
Buy the
Thanks,
buy the
everyone.
tickets to our live shows.
Yes, Philly, particularly Philly.
Yes,
Buy the Philly
Fill,
tickets.
fill more seats.
Fill more seats. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Almost 2 hours on the dot. All right.
Yeah.
That was
Not
a
too bad.
podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Bye.
night, everyone.
Bye.
Really good, guys.